Shalom, Kal Halayim, La Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Wahavracha Kodash. Double honors to the apostles, elders, bishops of GMS that rule well, who I learned this truth from, and salutations and blessings to you elect out there, starting with the 144,000. So this is going into a bit of history, going into you Edomites, all right, what position you were in the Middle Ages, okay, what position you played. Right, this is Isaiah 65 and 25, and this is a future prophecy pertaining to the state of the kingdom of heaven, right? The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock, and dust shall be the serpent's meat. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith the Lord Yahweh, right? That dust representing confusion. You Edomites are going back on your belly. You're going back in that base state. You're going back to your state of confusion. Okay? You're going to be that base man, that weaker vessel, right? That weaker nation, right? As it pertains to the book of Genesis. One nation shall be stronger than the other, right? So there is going to be no need for an Edomite that's intelligent or an Edomite that's smart, whatever you want to label it. There's not going to be a need for that. You're going to go back to who you originally were, okay? And in the Middle Ages or the Dark Ages, all right, this was your history. Okay, you were Slavs, okay, you were serfs, and you guys were on the bottom, and you were on the bottom to multiple nations, not just Israelites. We didn't just have you. Okay, the Ishmaelites had you too. The Ishmaelites had you in subjection. You were in a state of complete confusion and dismay, man. Okay, it is only through the Lord that you organized and took over. All right, let's go into some history. This is Otuno, a silence history. Otuno.net, a silence history. The traffic of European Christian slaves at the hands of Muslims. And they want to push that Christian. A lot of you weren't Christian. The only Christians if you were taken into household of Jake and you were converted, but a lot of you were just bugged out. You were in your whatever religion, okay? You were the wild men, or what is that other term? Warmer, or woodwolves, right? You were the wood people. You were in the forest, man, okay? You were driven in the wilderness. It says slavery is a scourge. Let me just skip down, actually. It says, were there no white European slaves? About slavery, there are many erroneous topics. One of them was the one published in El Pai, What Would We Think of the Slave Trade If Whites Had Suffered It? The socialist newspaper asked in a headline to announce a novel by Bernardine Evaristo based on the hypothesis that the slaves would have been the Europeans. It seems that Mrs. Evaristo and El Pai have very little knowledge of history because the reality is that white Europeans have been victims of the slave trade for centuries. So I'm going to jump down. It says, regarding the origin of the victims of the Muslim slave trade, the same author points out the descriptions made by Ibn Hawqal in the 10th century allows us to establish that the Maghreb was a significant source of black slaves. The whites, according to him, would come mainly from the Iberian Peninsula. A large number of these were sent to the Eastern Islamic world to satisfy the important demand for Christian black and Slavic slaves. Most of them on their way to the east would pass through Kairouan, the richest city in the Maghreb in terms of slavery, ivory, or gold dust. Okay, so that's showing you a little bit, that they're acknowledging, this situation. Now, what they were called, actually, let me get this. This is from realhistoryww.com, right? It says the Islamist armies of Muhammad succeeded in conquering Persia circa 651 AD. And these are original Ishmaelites. These were dark-skinned Ishmaelites, all right? One of Ishmael's sons, I believe, was Kedar. Okay, that's where we get the, what you call it? Um, the scripture, Jeremiah 14:2, Judah is black unto the ground. That word black is Qadar, or Kedar, which is dark skin, right? So that's just another point. The Arabs were mostly illiterates and were not well suited to run a country, much less an empire. They preferred to be farmers. So those albinos who had been vassals of the Persians quickly took control of not only the Persian Empire, but also of the intellectual realm of the Arabs' religion of Islam. These were the Hadith writers and intellectuals, among them al-Bukhari, who was a Tajik, al-Tabari, who was Parthian, Ishaq ibn Khuzaymah, who was Parthian. Others were Bactrians, Sogdians, and such. The Arab victory over Persia gave Turks, who were allies of the Arabs, free reign over Eastern Europe and Anatolia. In 1453, the Turks succeeded in destroying the Eastern Roman Empire. Okay, so look at this. Look how long already. You have to understand, right? Esau ruled. Yeah, Esau ruled. He came up through the Greeks. He tried to translate the kingdom from the Persians to the Greeks way back then. Okay, that didn't work. But then, through process of time, they got empowered through Macedon. You know, you had Alexander, his father Philip. Process of time, the Romans, the great Caesars, and all this madness, right? They were bugged out. Caligula and all these demons, doing all what they want, and they were in a high position. Shortly after, right, you had the five good emperors. The first one being Nerva, who was an Israelite, and then that fashion of beard started to come in, so you already know the vibe changed, right? And then slowly through that process of time, that was what let me actually let me check. Okay, Nerva. Yeah, so that was before 100 AD even, bro. We always push 193, but that was before 100 AD. Okay, so after that time period, it started to what started to unfold was Job chapter 30, right? Which we famously know, right? Job 30 and 1. But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished? For want and famine, they were solitary, So Jake got in power, and pretty much you Edomites were pushed out, man. And that's going to be an interesting, thing to see in the kingdom, how that played out. Because you had a lot of Edomites in the Roman Empire, but you were pushed out, man. You became wild men, okay? You were pushed out. It says, fleeing into the wilderness in former times, desolate and waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots for their meat. They were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief, to dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in caves of the earth, and in the rocks. Henceforth, Caucasian. Caucasian means dweller of the Caucasus Mountains. In verse 5 NLT, it says they are driven from human society, and people shout at them as if they were thieves. So now they live in frightening ravines and caves and among the rocks. They sound like animals howling among the bushes, huddled together beneath the nettles. They are nameless fools, outcasts from society. This was your lot. This is who you were. And this is who you're going to be in the kingdom. You're going to be outcasts. You're going to be nameless fools. You're not going to be no dukes, okay? No counts, no kings, no princes. All right? You're going to be Edomites, man. The pond scum, okay? The bottom of the bottom. And now they mock me with vulgar songs. They taunt me. Ain't that a bitch? Right? But the point stands, man. You were outcasts of society. You were driven from among men. And it was around this time that these nations, the Ishmael, they took you in. And you're the devil, man. You even in your bottom state, the Most High is still marinating and working with you, giving you intel, making you good with deceit and you're the devil, man. That's your job. Okay? But they as it says here, they took over, and then you had the Turks. The Turks, those Ottoman Turks, majority of them were Edomites, if not all, right? And that's why we were fighting with them during the time of Vlad Tepes. Let's hold on. Let's see what time Vlad Tepes was. Let me type that in. That was around Tepes. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. 1400s, right? So the mid late 1400s, he was warring with you Edomites and impaling you and eating his food around you. Okay, and this guy was, as they say, was they say, Transylvania, Romania. Okay, so this was the time we were warring with you Edomites because you're already kind of coming up, pretty much. We want to say, yeah, the Khazars, the Caucasus Mountains, a lot of you went there. But guess what? A lot of you were transported, like I said, to the Islamic world. A lot of you were taken into the Byzantine world by Israelites. You know, you came up that way. You had a few ways you came up, man. And like I said, the Turks that came, yeah, they spoke Arabic. Yeah, they may have practiced Islam. They had a Ishmaelite flavor to them, but they were Edomites. Okay, they were Edomites. It says, back to point, no surprise when you knock down one albino lie, they raise another. Actually, those olive complexioned people they speak of are the mulattoes of albinos of the Vandal and Alan subtribes of the Visigoths, of the Germanic supertribe of Central Asian albinos who invaded North Africa in 429 AD. The other mulattoes are those of Turks who the black Arabs foolishly used as slave soldiers and who overthrew them and took over their religion in 1055 AD. The others are mulattoes from the French invasion and colonization in 1830 and the Italian invasion and colonization of 1911. Take away those albinos and their mulattoes, and it's all black. We call them as a group Berbers. Right? You had a lot of Israelites as Berbers. But as you see, this is a good map here. This is the Ottoman Empire in the 1600 AD. So a lot of these are Edomites, bro. Majority. This is when Esau was coming up, right? Esau came, knocked down Constantinople, established Istanbul. Okay, 14 was at 53. Okay, and then 1492 you had Granada that fell, right? So this was that time period, man. That was it on that. Now let me get this point about you being in the Islamic armies, because there was actually a term for you, right? Sakwalabi. Okay, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but Sakwaliba is a term used in medieval Arabic sources to refer to Slavs and other peoples of Central, Southern, and Eastern Europe. The term originates from the Middle Greek Slav, which in Hispano-Arabic came to designate Slavic slaves. Now, I've also looked up another definition or etymological definition, and they actually said that this word Sakwalibi meant forest dweller. Okay, and you see here the Rus trading slaves with the Khazars. Okay, here you are. This is you, Slav, circa 800 AD. This is you, Esau, a hay carrier. That's all. That's all you. Carry the flax. You know, This is your story, man. This is your history. You damn serfs, man. You Slavs. Okay. So here, the word was often used to refer specifically to Slavic slaves, but it could also refer more broadly to various other ethnicities of Eastern Europe traded by the Arab traders. And again, you had a lot of, I have to say this point, you had Israelites in the Arabic armies as well, because a lot of the Moors that came from those Arabic armies into Spain and Portugal, they were dark-skinned Moors, so-called black men, what you call. Okay, even though the Ishmaelites were dark-skinned, you had a lot of Jakes that were enslaved by Ishmael too. Okay, but at the same time, Jake was ruling in the castles of Europe. You Edomites were just down, bro. Dust was dust. What does it say? Dust shall be the serpent's meat. Okay, you were on your belly, man. You were just in a state of serfdom. That was your kingdom. You didn't have a kingdom. You had a serfdom. So look, it says, as well as European slaves in some Muslim regions like Spain and Portugal, including those abducted from raids on Christian kingdoms of Spain and Portugal. According to Suder and B. Sabo, the word Saqualiba meant forest dweller, regardless of ethnicity. So that ties in exactly with wild men, wood wolves. You know, when you look up wood wolves, yeah, woodland outcast, an abandoned person. Hey, what did we read in Job? Verse 5, they NLT, they are driven from human society, and people shout at them as if they were thieves. Okay. Verse 8, they are nameless fools, outcasts from society. Okay. So you guys were just bugged the hell out, hairy as hell. Okay. These are your coat of arms. All right. You guys were, we were, brothers did a bunch of lessons. We already know about the wild men. Okay. We already know. We know what's going on. But anyway, that was that word Sakwaliba, just to go into it. So that was it. That wasn't too much. I just wanted to bring out some history on that because I found that very interesting. More information comes out as we approach the climax, okay, of the end. So anyway, hope you're edified with that. Kahalayim la Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, Shalom to the elect.